Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we're having a little bit of weather here this weekend. We're having a little snow, and we've come out to the park to do a little photography. I actually was going to do this intro with Michaela, but I've lost her. She got distracted. Here she comes. And we've come out to the park. It's actually, we've got some beautiful sun. It's relatively warm considering all of the snow around, and we're here to do a little bird photography and test out a little goodie I've got with me. This is going to be a first impressions video for this lens right here. This is Nikon's 600 PF lens. I've been eyeballing this for a while. I finally got my hands on it. I'd love to test it out, let you know what I think. And of course, paired with it, I've got the Z9. Michaela over here has the 404.5 with the Z8, and she's packing the 1.4 times teleconverter. So this is a 600 6.3 versus a 566.3 with two 45 megapixel sensors. Let's go shoot some birds and see what we can do with these cameras. Got a few duckies. Is that a killdeer? Okay, so we've been out for a little while, and here's some first bleeding edge impressions of the 600. It is lighter and a bit more of a delight to hold than the 800 PF. I am a lot less fatigued, and I'll have to check the numbers on this, but I actually think the 600 PF is lighter than the 500 PF with the FTZ adapter. So I am really enjoying having almost as much reach as the 800 PF without lugging it around and just feeling really tired. We've seen a few very far off subjects like a kingfisher, some ducks, a killdeer, and just being able to be a little nimble, agile with this snow and still have enough reach to be productive and fill the frame is really nice. Now, I am shooting with 1/3 of a stop lower than the 500 PF, which the maximum aperture is 5.6. The maximum aperture of this, like the 800 PF, is 6.3. That has felt a bit troublesome in lower light situations. In fact, I'm at the point where I'm not sure I've gotten a sharp photo with this lens until today because of lower light conditions, so that has been a bit of a setback. But in good light, this lens has been a lot of fun to use, and I'm excited to see what the quality of the lens is. So what do you say we get going? So one other observation I've made about this lens is about the minimum focus distance. It is not quite as good as the 500 PF, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but I will put them on the screen here. I have actually run into a situation already where I was too close to a bird and I could not focus on it, and that is just not something that I had to really deal with the 500 PF. So definitely sort of a strike against the 600 PF, but if you are a small bird photographer, that might not be a problem you run into very often, but good to know. Someone forgot her water and immediately resort to...
It's pure untouched snow.
Somebody forgot their water and resorted immediately to eating snow.
It's pure.
It's pure.
Not a single speck on here.
So quick update, we have found a quick little spot to hang out. We're going to hopefully see some birds coming and going from this spot. We've been pretty lucky here before. Michaela has eaten 2 full snowballs at this point, so she's ready to go. We've got plenty of hydration, and hopefully we'll be able to get you some example shots with the 600 PF. Hey, so we have left the park and I have come back home and I'm out in the bird blind hoping to take advantage of the last little bit of light so that I can maybe pull off a few more shots this evening before the sun is gone and the snow continues to melt. Michaela decided to go inside and rest rather than come out here because I think she is just completely tuckered out after eating 6 entire snowballs out at the park. So it's just going to be me. And hopefully I can take a few shots here that'll make her super jealous. So fingers crossed. Okay, so you've gotten to see quite a few example photos that I took out in the field, and you've heard me praise the weight of the lens while at the same time worrying about the longer minimum focus distance versus the 500 PF. Now that I'm back in the studio, having had time to review my photos, I wanted also to talk about 2 other subjects, the f6.3 maximum aperture and lens sharpness. Let's start with the maximum aperture. Like the 180 to 600 and the 800 PF, the maximum aperture of the 600 PF is f6.3. The big question is this an issue for the lens? And honestly, the answer isn't simple. It really comes down to your needs. The 600 PF is only a third of a stop slower than the 500 PF. The 600 PF is only a third of a stop slower than the 500 PF, and if the 500 PF was enough to meet your needs with a maximum aperture of f5.6, then the 600 PF will be too. If you typically shoot in very low light conditions, you often need more light than the 500 PF can provide, or you often find yourself reaching for an f4 or an f2.8 lens, then the 600 PF probably isn't going to be for you. Now, I did some testing, and I took the lens out the first day I had it. I was eager to test it, and it was a very overcast and snowy day. The light wasn't great. I was pushing 6400 ISO at 1/250th of a second, but I really wanted just to test the lens, so I took it out anyways. And in fact, Michaela came out with me, but she was shooting with the 400 4.5 wide open, and the contrast between our two sets of photos was staggering. I took hundreds of photos out there, but I struggled so much to land a single sharp photo in those low light conditions that I actually started to question whether or not they sent me a broken lens. Before I get roasted in the comments, I want to pause here and be clear when I say there was nothing wrong with the lens. The light was just so poor that all of my images were impacted by high levels of noise. Yes, I know there are ways to remove the noise and still get a decent image, but the point I'm making here is that the 600 PF struggled in that light and the 400 4.5 fared much better. Meanwhile, the 400 4.5 was producing tack sharp image after tack sharp image in the same light, and it did make a difference. As soon as we got into better light though, the situation changed. In golden hour light and in bright diffused light, the lens started to shine and it was suddenly taking the sharpest photos of the bunch. Here's a comparison that I took just today between the 600 PF, the 500 PF, and the 400 4.5 of the same heron in the same light. As you can see, the 600 PF is arguably on par, if not sharper than the rest, and with much more reach, of course, too. All of this is to say that there might be other better lens options out there for very low light conditions. Outside of those extremes, though, this lens should be more than capable of delivering for you, especially if you were already a 500 PF shooter. I still have a lot more testing to do with this lens, though, for the upcoming full review, so if you'd like to see that when it comes out, make sure to subscribe. I plan to walk through all of the lens features, to show off a bunch of additional example photos, as well as to take some more comparisons between the other super telephotos out there as well. In the meantime, I think this is a good place to leave the first impressions video for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.